week 5. I'm just going over some of the in-class questions we had during class. So I'm going to make a new pre-comp. I'll call this in-class questions. Don't forget, you're going to have the After Effects file I'm working off of as well as these video tutorials and the PowerPoint slides from class to help you learn and troubleshoot along the way. Alright, so first question we had in class was we had a question about transitions. So I'm going to show you linear wipe, this effect over here. So I'm just going to type the word transitions. I probably typed that in wrong, I don't care. And we'll make it this color, sure. Alright. In After Effects, whatever transition you want to apply, sorry about that, allergies. Go double click. Now this is on this layer. Everything with After Effects is keyframe based. You need a minimum of 2 keyframes always. And it's time based. Transitions work off of transition completion. That's the most important one of this. So as you see as I slide my timer, this is going from left to right, animating off. That's the opposite of what I want. So if I make this 90 and I change it to negative 90, it will now animate in the direction I want. So I went negative 90 and I cranked the transition completion up to 100. I'm going to keyframe my transition completion. And on this layer, I'm just going to hit U so you can see my keyframing. Let's just say I want it to be 1 second. 1:00. And I add my second keyframe, change it to 0. So I'm going from 100% complete the transition to 0%. And I'll stop it right here in the middle where we're at 50%. If you want, you can feather the effect for a much smoother, softer, more professional look. That's one thing you could do. You could always change the transition angle as well. I changed it to negative 90 to go in this direction. Suppose I want to go top to bottom. So let's try 0. See what we get there. That's too much of a feather for that, so I'm going to make it 50. Now it's going top to bottom at 0. So my guess is if I made this 180, now it's going to go from 0 to top. I mean from bottom to top. Yep, see? So changing the angle will change the direction of your effect. Beware of the feather. I had a larger feather going from left to right because this word is long, but it's short in height. So when I was going up or down, I had to change my feather to keep the effect. That's an example of linear wipe. As I said, you could do it any direction. Up, down, left, right. You could do it diagonally. It's all based on the angle and the time you want your effect to go. From complete 100 to 0 in either direction. That's how a linear wipe works. Now, for one of the more rounder shape ones we had in class, I'm going to use my ellipse tool up here. Now I have nothing selected. Remember this. If you have nothing selected, you can add a shape layer with the shape tools and just clicking and dragging. But if you have anything selected, you'll start making a mask on that layer that is selected. So be careful. And as I said before, always step number 1, make sure your anchor point is where you want it. And you move it with your pan behind tool up here at the top. And we'll put my anchor key in the middle. Oops. And you could use your command key to snap it to the middle or any of the corners. Alright, so I've got my shape. Make sure I'm on the black arrow tool, the select tool. I don't want a stroke. We'll give it a fill. We'll make this a little bigger so you can see what's going on. And let's see where my anchor point is. Now it's in the center. Okay, perfect. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to make the top one, just changing the fill color right here. Alright, two completely different colors. Now a radial wipe, right here, transition radial wipe will work. I want to move that to the center. Perfect. Like such. I have these two stacked on top of one another, and again, you keyframe your transition completion, and if you want, you can feather it. You don't have to if you don't want to. So I could have the one animate on, or you could pick the opposite. You could change the layer stacking. You could also go clockwise, counterclockwise. Let's see what happens if we change it to both. Now you're getting a wedge shape, if that's what you're going for. So, like I said, that's just one more way you can do something creative with transitions. While we're discussing transitions, so, excuse me again, the main transitions that I work with on my day-to-day base, you have linear wipe. I don't really use radial wipe too much, but I'm going to hide these. Another one, let's go back to the transition text. I'm going to duplicate it. Let's get rid of this effect. Okay. Grid wipe is also commonly used these days. So that would be CC grid wipe. Here we go. Grid wipe will make a grid across your text. You can always change the border. You can even animate the keyframes to it and the number of tiles. You can get the effect as large or as big as you want. You can have it come in radially or as doors and rectangle. Each one will give you a different animation for the effect. You could do whatever you could animate the center point, the rotation of the tiles, however you see fit. You can use this effect. Another popular transition is Venetian blinds, if I could spell that right. Why is it not popping up? A V-E-N, probably. Yep, there we go. Remember, learn to spell, kids. Venetian blinds, it's a series of lines that are the same width all the way across. You could change the width to whatever you want. You could also feather the effect if you like. So if you could change the width, you could also keyframe the width as you're doing it. You could always change the angle. So if you want to go at an angle or straight across, straight up and down. You could be as creative as you want. You could keyframe all of these properties to get the look you're going for. But remember, with all transitions, it's about the completion that you keyframe over time. So if I go from there to there, and I animate it off, that's the effect. I'm going to change the direction to there. And I'm also going to keyframe the width. I'm going to start the keyframing of the width just for the fun of it right here. If I shrink it over time, you'll get a completely different look. See, now it's coming in on itself as it's filling out the entire shape. And then animating off. Like I said, you can do whatever you want. Not every idea is going to work, but I always encourage playing around to see what will work. All properties can be edited and keyframed based off of your own ideas.